Thank you.
You can't talk yet.
And again, we have the honor to recognize Steve from Solano County with this certificate of recognition. I know he's aspiring to get a resolution, but that's going to be a couple years down the road. The certificate reads as follows. Steve P. Whiteley, MD, Solano County Physician of the Year, in honor of your dedication to provide emergency aid, to alleviate the suffering of victims of natural disasters, disease, or war, both here and abroad, congratulations for being recognized by your peers as the Solano County Physician of the Year. Congratulations.
On behalf of Congressman Mike Thompson, I do have as well a certificate of recognition for your dedication, for your passion, as we mentioned, and for putting the patients first, for devoting yourself and putting 100% to serving Solano County. As you know, as many of you know, Mike began representing part of Solano County, and he was very, very happy to come back to Solano County. He used to represent it in the state Senate, and now he is representing part of it, which includes Vallejo, and he is very happy to come back home, the way he puts it, and he's very proud to have physicians as yourself representing his district.
Hi, Steve. So I'm Dr. Steve Stricker, the Physician-in-Chief of Kaiser Permanente for Napa and Solano counties. I've been with the company since 1984, and Steve's been with the company since 91. So forever and ever, I've worked side by side with Steve. He is a fantastic physician. He is the kind of physician that if you really want to know what's going on, you call up Steve, and he will tell you. He has the gift not only of being a great doctor, but being really the gift of wisdom. He was the chief of our emergency departments for Solano County for many, many years, and he did a fantastic job building those departments. He was the county EMS director on 3 different occasions. He was also the Yolo County EMS director. But then beyond all of that, he has served really patients throughout the world in a way that when I'm done talking about it, you'll say, well, why wasn't he the Physician of the Year every year? He's been to Sudan, he's been to Sumatra, he's been to Burma, he's been to Syria. You know, when he was in Syria, I said, Steve, you know, this was a few years ago, you know, people are actually getting really injured and killed in Syria. You need to be careful because I want you to come back, okay? And he did. Then he went to Afghanistan twice. And I was a little worried about that too. And I said, you know, can you send me a picture once in a while so I can sort of make sure you're okay? And then sure enough, he comes back. And then it's like, okay, where's Steve today? Oh, he's in Liberia taking care of Ebola patients. And it was, you know, it was just a remarkable piece of knowledge that we had to deal with. And the funny thing about his going to Liberia is that when he went and when he came back, it reminds me of one of those science fiction novels where somebody leaves, you know, and then 50 years has passed back home since he left and came back. So when he went, he was going to go, oh, I'm going there for a few weeks, and then I'll come back and go to work. So while he was gone, the entire nation changed about Ebola. He left thinking he was going for a few weeks or a month and he'll come back. While he was gone, a nurse died in Texas. The entire nation went in an uproar. Physicians and nurses who went to Liberia were suddenly persona non gratis coming back, and where he was gonna just come back, you know, with no sweat, Now we had to be on the phone and text each other to plan how we were going to sneak him through Paris, we're going to sneak him through Casablanca, we're going to sneak him through the East Coast airports to get him back here so that he could then go to home quarantine for 3 weeks, as opposed to being in some kind of prison cell hospital quarantine for 3 weeks before he could finally resume a normal life. And he was unaware of any of those sort of situations at the time that he left. So it was really quite a remarkable thing, and I want to acknowledge his wife, Dr. Marilee Joseph, who works in our Chemical Dependency and Rehab Center, who went through this with me while we were kind of wondering, okay, how do we get Steve back? And then meantime, if any of you saw 60 Minutes, you saw 60 Minutes was at a site in Liberia where they were taking care of it. That's where Steve was. Okay, so that was Steve's digs. That was his gig. And the people dressed up in those rubber wetsuits, that was Steve. So just really remarkable. And we have the greatest respect for Steve. So here's to Steve Whiteley.
Thanks, Steve. That was really over the top, as expected. I mean, what I like is you get, traveling is you get to do the same things you do at home, only it's a lot more interesting somehow. You come home and you try and have as much interest in your day-to-day work as you do when you're somewhere else, but it's not that much different. I do it, for many reasons, but the principal one is because I can and because I really enjoy it. There's a lot of people I have to thank for my ability to do that. My department who covers for me, because if I'm not there, other people have to work my shifts. The chief and the other people in the department cover for me and bend over backwards to when my absences are extended, as they were, like Steve said. Of course, Steve and Robbie Pearl and Steve Perotti and Dr. Ragajapal were very helpful when the quarantine thing came up, trying to figure out all sorts of nefarious ways to get me home, but it turned out to be fairly simple, as a matter of fact. Don't tell anybody, but I came through Washington and the CDC totally missed me in screening, and I got on the next plane and flew home. So for all that, all your careful planning, nobody asked me where I'd been or what I'd been doing. But of course, most of all, I have to thank Marilee, my wife, because if she wasn't willing to let me go, to trust that I know what I'm doing and that I'm going to come back in one piece, I wouldn't be able to do it. And anybody who's married knows what a big gift that is, so thank you.
Steve did bring a slideshow of Liberia that he's going to show after the event tonight, so if you can stick around and watch it, please do.